Dub in the chat. A W.
Kelsey Mitchell just lit up the Dallas Wings, and people are still out here sleeping on her talent. Meanwhile, Paige Bueckers got a front row seat to what real fourth quarter pressure feels like. The Indiana Fever didn't just win without their biggest star, they made a statement. And the way this game played out has fans rethinking everything they thought they knew about this squad. The performances were electric, so is Kelsey Mitchell finally getting the respect she's earned, or are people still underestimating her game? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Now, let's get into it. Now, because the Fever just dismantled the Dallas Wings 88-78, and honestly, the final score makes it look a lot closer than it actually was. But before we dive into the beautiful basketball that went down, we've got to talk about the absolute circus that unfolded before the game even tipped off. Picture this, you're in Dallas, technically the Wings' home court, but the atmosphere feels like a Fever fan takeover. Why? Because Caitlin Clark spent nearly an hour before tip-off signing autographs for supporters who traveled from all over just to catch a glimpse of her, not to watch her play. Wait, she's still sidelined with that puzzling groin issue, but simply to be in the same arena as her. She stood out there signing everything fans handed her while her teammates prepared to prove they could get the job done without her. That's either a display of extreme confidence or a recipe for chaos. Honestly, it might be both.
The 100 win over Phoenix. Stephanie White called that a big win. They were outstanding. Mitchell,
Let's talk about the actual basketball on display, because Kelsey Mitchell came out and made a statement. She reminded everyone that she's not new to this league, dropping 23 points on 9 of 19 shooting and making it all look effortless. This is the same Kelsey Mitchell who flew under the radar before Caitlin Clark came into the spotlight. Now she's out here slicing through pro-level defenses like it's just another day at practice. What's really wild is seeing people act shocked that Kelsey can hoop at such a high level. She's been doing this for years, but no one seemed to notice until the Fever started turning into must-watch basketball. Suddenly, people are waking up to the fact that this squad has serious talent beyond their sideline superstar.
100 win over Phoenix. Stephanie White called that a big win. They were outstanding.
What made Kelsey's performance even more impressive was how she's evolved her role to become a legitimate facilitator. She dished out a few assists that were straight-up highlight material, including a behind-the-back dime that had defenders looking lost. For years, critics pegged her as two-score centric, but she's now showing the full spectrum of her skill set. Kelsey Mitchell's development deserves way more spotlight. She's gone from being a pure scorer to someone who can orchestrate an offense, set up teammates, and still get her own when it counts. That kind of transformation isn't easy to pull off in the pros, especially when you're adjusting to playing beside a generational phenom like Caitlin. On the flip side, Paige Bueckers put up 22 points for Dallas, which sounds solid until you realize she completely vanished in the fourth quarter. And this isn't new. It's becoming a concerning habit. You can stack points in the first 3 quarters all you want, but if you disappear when it matters most, the numbers lose their weight.
The fourth quarter is where legends separate themselves from good players, and Kelsey Mitchell showed up while Paige Bueckers went missing. That's not a coincidence.
The fourth quarter is where great players rise and separate themselves. Kelsey Mitchell stepped up while Paige Bueckers faded into the background. That's no coincidence. It highlights the contrast between someone seasoned in the WNBA grind and someone still learning what it takes to close out games at this level. Paige's tendency to go quiet in crunch time is starting to raise red flags. In college, you could skate by during off stretches thanks to a wider talent gap. In the W, every possession is vital, and when you're build as your team's lead option, disappearing under pressure isn't going to cut it. The weight of those next big thing expectations might be heavier on Paige than people assume. She entered the league with sky-high hype, and while she's shown flashes of brilliance, she hasn't quite nailed the consistency needed in closing situations. That comes with experience, but it also separates the stars from the superstars. Meanwhile, Aaliyah Boston added another double-double with 12 points and 11 boards, which at this point feels like her standard output. That's 5 consecutive double-doubles now, and somehow the league still isn't giving her the credit she's earned. The lack of recognition is wild, but she just keeps stacking stats while people debate whether the Fever can hold up without Caitlin. Natasha Howard got in on the double-double action too, putting up 11 points and pulling down an eye-popping 16 rebounds. 16. That kind of hustle is what swings games, especially against a team clinging to playoff hopes. But here's where it gets really puzzling. Double-digit game, 6 in the quarter. BBY pulls up, splash. Chloe Beebe came off the bench and immediately drilled 2 3-pointers in rapid succession. You'd assume that would earn her more minutes, right? Nope. Stephanie White yanked her out quicker than a comic bombing on stage. 2 quick threes and she's glued to the bench. Make it make sense. This is exactly the kind of coaching decision that's left fans scratching their heads all year. A player catches fire, shows she's making a difference, then gets benched without explanation. It's like watching someone stumble on a winning lottery ticket and toss it away. The Chloe Beebe situation sums up all the frustrations fans have had with coaching choices this season. Here's a player who's proven multiple times that she can bring value, yet instead of letting her ride the wave or at least test her momentum, she's immediately pulled from the floor. It raises questions about what might be happening behind the curtain that fans aren't privy to. Could it be chemistry concerns, defensive lapses, or just the coaching staff overcomplicating things? Regardless, it's painful to witness when potential is being squandered right in front of you. Ari McDonald, on the other hand, dropped 15 points and dished out 6 assists, continuing to build her case as the season's most overlooked signing. She was
nice jumper.
Almost like
Bueckers again, another double-digit game, 6 in the quarter.
The kind of player who makes you ask, how is
Here's
she
Bibby,
available?
launches, buries!
The Chloe Beebe situation is the perfect example of what's been so frustrating about some of the coaching decisions this season. You've got a player who's clearly capable of making an impact. She's proven it time and time again when given the shot. But instead of sticking with her when she's heating up, or at least letting her build off that momentum, she gets yanked right away. It's the kind of move that makes you wonder if something's going on behind closed doors that fans just aren't privy to. Could it be locker room dynamics? Defensive liabilities? Or is it just the coaching staff getting too deep in their own heads? Whatever the case, it's tough to watch from the outside when you see that kind of potential being left on the table. Meanwhile, Ari McDonald put up 15 points and dished out 6 assists, continuing her campaign as arguably the most underappreciated acquisition of the year. She was added late, almost like an afterthought, and has come in playing better than some starters around the league. She's exactly the type of player who makes you scratch your head and ask why she wasn't already logging major minutes elsewhere.
This team mid-season, officially on a full contract now, congratulations, but just the impact that Aries had overall, how do you feel like?
Oh, it's unbelievable. Like, this is our blessing in disguise. We always tell her that we appreciate her seriously because our season was all over the place, obviously, with, you know, the people that was on the team, the people that wasn't on the team, injury, you know, Tutu not being around as much with her injuries, and just, you know, it takes a lot for a pro to step up and, you know, be where her feet is and step and fill in shoes that, you know, not a lot of people expect. And I think for Ari, she compliments myself, all the other players so well because she just gets it as far as knowing where people are, knowing the chemistry. And I think for us to her, we have to make sure that we keep patting her on the back because this is a big position to fill, and I think that she's doing it unbelievably well. So shout out to you, Ed. As well.
The fact that Ari has maintained this level of consistency while other teams are scrambling for reliable bench help is a real indictment of whoever let her walk. She's playing like she's on a mission, and it's clearly paying off. Ari's rise has quietly become one of the most compelling stories of the season. She wasn't even on most people's radar when the year began, and now she's one of the most dependable players on a playoff contending roster. That kind of breakout doesn't just happen by chance. It's the product of being ready when the moment arrives, and she's capitalized on every single one. On the flip side, DJ Carrington managed just 4 points